Are you looking to do deals and master flipping houses? Welcome to the DoDeals Show with our host, Mr. Tim Mai. As a successful investor and mentor to many real estate investors, Tim's students consistently run 6- and 7-figure investing businesses. Each week, you'll hear from top real estate investors who share the best strategies, systems, and secrets that you can use to be more successful. Tim and his guests will pull back the curtain for you to learn their exact tactics, tricks, and tools that are working best right now in today's real estate market. Now, let's welcome Mr. Tim Mai.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Heroes Alliance show. Today, we have Cris Chico on the line with us. And Cris is going to teach us how he runs his virtual wholesaling business and his virtual education business as well, and how he makes it all work together and still be able to go on a 4-month vacation. Was it 4 weeks?
40 days. 40 days.
40 days.
I'm working my way to 40 for 4 months, but not yet. I see I'm live here. I'm gonna share my this thing here. So share the video. Is that all right?
Sounds good. Yeah, share.
Okay.
Share it away.
Okay.
All right. So yeah. So, Cris, why don't we start with you sharing with everybody a little bit about yourself, how you got started in real estate investing, and then we'll go from there.
So I, in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, I used to be an accountant. And so I went to college and became an accountant, and then became a real estate agent, and then eventually kind of maneuvered my way around to becoming a real estate investor. And initially was doing that for the banks in terms of flipping properties, bank-owned deals, and the market was turning, and so I wanted to get deals from private owners. And so then that's what kind of led me down the path of learning marketing, right, and learning how to write in compelling copy and words to get people to take action. And I think that was, if I was to say the one thing, you and I just talked about this right before the call, the tip of the spear, right? The one thing that got kind of everything moving in a particular direction that then kind of, gave me all the opportunities I have now was learning direct response marketing. I had been following this guy named Craig Proctor.
Oh, yeah.
Agent, right. And I was looking at his stuff, and it seemed weird, right? Because all the agent advertising and marketing just had their pictures, and I used to do the same thing, right? Because I used to have sellers that say my property isn't being sold, and all I see everywhere is pictures of Cris Chico everywhere, but my house isn't being sold. So I did the same thing, and then this guy Craig Proctor comes along, and he has these advertisements and these postcards and these newsletters, and there's no pictures of realtors, and it was rattling my brain. And I was consuming his stuff, and then one day he mentioned a guy the name of a person, and that was Dan Kennedy. And then I was like, who's that guy, right? Because then he mentioned him as far as being the guy he learned from.
Right.
And then that sent me down the path of learning and understanding about Dan Kennedy. And so I think that was the tip of the spear in terms of, learning how to market, and then using that expertise in marketing to in my real estate business. And then as the real estate, as the intranet started to kind of to take hold, then that also piqued my interest in the education market and how to do it online, right? And so even back then, when everybody was selling in the terms of real estate education, they were selling books and tapes and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And what happened with me is I was doing deals in the South Florida area, and I had training videos that I created for my staff on how to do most of this stuff. And so I had these training videos, and I said, I would like to share these as a course, right? So it wasn't like I just created something out of the blue. I was going to share my training videos. And however, though, at the time I didn't want to bother with the whole, creating a book and the CD. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I was too lazy back then. And so I had this crazy idea. I said, and nobody at the time had this. I said, well, a membership site. And I'm not going to say who, but I mentioned it to a couple of the real estate trainers back then, and they're like, that's not going to work ever. People want a book, and they want tapes, and they want all this stuff.
Right.
And so then I just decided, let me just upload all the stuff. And lo and behold, that became a course, which then, kind of led me down the path of everything, including you and I here.
Right.
That's what you're asking me, but I'm trying to just like you asked me about real estate, or that's how I got involved into real estate.
Right.
And I was a real estate agent, and then used marketing as a way to grow that, and then from there jumped into the education market as well. And then the other thing, I actually hadn't even mentioned this to you, but like even extending from that, like I do real estate investing here locally. I also we're going to talk about this. I teach new new people coming in to real estate how to become a real estate investor. I also have a service for experienced investors that we run all of their marketing and everything else. And then my wife happens to be a pharmacist. And over the last couple of years, she's been developing a skincare product. And now we went away for 40 days in California, but there we actually met with the manufacturers because we've been going through various the formulations, and we're kind of almost at that stage where we're almost ready. But of course, now I'm taking my knowledge of the of copywriting, of marketing, plus the online, and now I'm going to be able to take that into another niche altogether, completely different. So I'm really excited about that too as well.
That is definitely awesome, and I mean that's a huge niche, right?
Yes, exactly.
So that's really great. And so so basically, I mean, it sounds like at the core of you, like you're a marketer, right? You're a super super good marketer. You're doing marketing for your own real estate business. You're doing marketing for other investors' business. You're doing marketing for your education business, and now you're like even expanding into doing marketing for skincare products.
Right. I'm actually 90 years old, but because of the skincare product, I only look in the 40s.
I love that. So I guess let's talk about that, because I think that marketing is such a core part of business in general.
Yes.
And then you went a little bit further into marketing, specifically into direct response marketing, copywriting. So expand into that, because I think a lot of people look at copywriting as like, some salesman kind of thing, which is a little bit different from marketing. So relate for us, like, what's the difference between marketing versus copywriting?
Well, I mean, I think I look at it as in terms of, let's say if we look at the difference between marketing and direct response marketing, right? So most people think about marketing in terms of image. The best example would be realtors. Realtors will go ahead and they'll create advertisements, and their whole, and even if you think about the old Yellow Pages, their whole process was, hey, just put this ad out, put your face on it, put just like a nice slogan, and then over time, people will get to know you. People business will come to you eventually, right? And so that's problematic for a small business owner, because you're not Coca-Cola, you're not a big company that can afford to spend money every single month and wait a year and a half for customers to finally get to know you. So direct response marketing hinges on the fact that you're going to take your money, you're going to invest it in marketing, and you want a return on that investment as quickly as possible. And so then what we have to do is I like to just describe kind of copywriting in the sense that you take what somebody would normally do. If I was sitting across the table from you, on the kitchen table, and I was trying to explain to you the benefits of you buying whatever I had, whether it be these set of glasses, and now copywriting is just the concept of taking that and putting that in print, and putting that in print. So then now I can tell my story to you in a compelling way, and be able to help you, have you be my customer or prospect or entertain my service. And so I look at it as more direct response marketing is it's marketing. You put $1 in and you want that $1, $2 or $3 back as quickly as possible.
Right.
And so for me, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, the thing I was going to say, that this is something I've come to realize recently is also, for me, what I do, I look at, there's a variety of different ways that you have that you can go out and acquire customers as a business, right? So if you look at a guy like Gary Vaynerchuk, he goes out there, he's on social media, and he's doing a bunch of stuff like, just being out in public, right? In that way. And so one of the things that I think that for me, I was lucky at that point to figure this out, but that I most of the time I'm really good at writing, right? And so the marketing has to fit my personality, right? So if say, for example, for a very long time, I'm not really great on social media. I'm not one to post pictures and do all these videos and Periscope and everything else.
But you're sexy, you should.
Yes, with my hat, with my new hat, right? For a bit, I was saying to myself, well, maybe you should. It was just kind of in their turmoil because you feel that you should. And then it was actually Mike Dillard who said, hey, he likes he doesn't like any of that social media, but he knows that he's good and he appreciates writing and he wants to he wants to be able to write. So he's good at creating sales letters and PowerPoints and everything else.
Right.
So that's my medium. My medium is doing that. But however, though, the big umbrella, the big wrapper around that is direct response marketing, right? So if you're someone that you might be on the call, you say, I'm not a really great writer. I hate writing. It's like I'd rather stick pencils inside my ears and maybe twist them around and everything else. You could take direct response marketing principles and apply them to whatever thing you like to do. So if you love just being in front of the camera and being in front of someone and expressing yourself that way, then you can take direct response marketing and apply it to that medium that which you feel most comfortable with, which you feel most attracted to. And so that's the one thing I think it's always missed is that it's not trying to force it, right? You got to figure out what you're good at, the way you operate best, but the big umbrella, the big wrapper on that you have to think about is direct response marketing, because that's the foundation of getting customers and acquiring prospects.
Right, and I'll further speak into that because that's really great. Because I am the other guy that don't like to write.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm much better on videos. It's whenever the camera turns on, I just get lit up and then I go into do my thing, right? So I do hire people to write the ads, run the traffic, right? But I just record the video, so I'll sell through videos instead. So you're right. There's definitely different ways we can do direct response marketing, and so depending on your personality, that's really awesome. So can you speak into how did direct response marketing made a difference for you in your real estate business?
Well, the real estate business was that I was dealing with banks, and so I wanted to deal with private owners, and so then I needed to create marketing that would make have those people raise their hand and say, I want you to buy my house, or I want an offer on my house, and it was really through trial and error because I was sending out marketing, but it's like I would send out postcards, I would send out letters. And then I would think that maybe the mailman just didn't deliver it because I put it out today and maybe 3 or 4 days from now I should be getting calls. And then I'm thinking maybe not. A week goes by and then I'm slowly realizing that I don't think anybody's going to call, right? Because the letter or the postcard isn't working. And so then what it did is it led me down the path of trying to figure out that, how can I make this better? And that's what led me down the path of Dan Kennedy. And really the resource that at the time, he was selling a course for $400 or something like that in terms of his magnetic marketing kit. Yeah. And I didn't have enough money to buy it. So the thing I bought, which really was the catalyst for everything, was he has a book called The Ultimate Sales Letter. And that's the book that I wrote. And literally I always remember sitting at my desk, reading through that book and trying to come up with, okay, how can I take this and apply toward the marketing that I'm doing now? And it wasn't that I had to reinvent the wheel, but I just took his template of how, his methodology and applied it to the postcards. And literally it went from, me making a couple $1,000s a month to, all of a sudden within started to implement that. This was back then, but I went from a couple $1,000s a month to $20,000-$30,000 a month to 6 months later making, 6-figure months. Wow. And really the whole catalyst of that was the marketing, because I knew how to do real estate deals. right? And I think that that's what I would say that it's a fine balance between competency and marketing, because you could have the crappiest product. I'm not saying you should, but you can have the worst product. But if you have great marketing, you'll sell a lot of it. But you can have the most amazing product and not be able to sell anything just because you don't have the marketing capabilities. But now the challenge, I think, sometimes now with people is that now it's not. In the past, it used to be just a direct response marketing. The mediums, you had a very finite number of mediums under which you could send a letter, you can put an ad on the newspaper. But now you have the online. Everything is online, but you have so many different avenues at which to attack, and every medium requires a different method because of the different market sophistication, etc.
Right.
But I think the foundation is learning how to communicate effectively in a way so that people will say, yeah, I like what you have, I like your service or product, I want to buy it.
That's awesome. And how did that lead you into doing virtual wholesaling in multiple markets? What was that transition?
Well, what happened with virtual wholesaling was just that I was here locally down in South Florida, and I kind of saw the market just starting to. I was concerned about the market because it was really overheated, and then I knew some people. I knew some people were saying, hey, this market is great to invest in. They were local. They were local in those markets, and I said, well, gee, why can't I go ahead and do what I'm doing here there? And it was just really because I had the business here up and running. I had people running it. So I wasn't day to day specifically. I had the time, and I said, you know what, I like to try this. Now, what happened is that so that kind of came together at the same time that the online, learning about online marketing, because now at that point, then I needed to kind of use both of them. What are the online tools available back then? Versus, what are my options in terms of like me going into a market? So it was a combination of just going into that. When I went to virtual wholesaling, it was just curiosity. Hey, can I do this somewhere else? But then now I had the marketing in place. But now that's when the technology part came into play, right? Because I needed to do that because it was virtual.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's great. And
I don't know if that was a question you were asking me.
No, it's close. Definitely. So I know you teach a lot about virtual wholesaling. Obviously, you've gotten really good with direct response marketing, and then you became sort of like just become a master at that and focus on that primarily. And then you have staff and outsourcers and VAs and what have you to run the rest of your business. Could you, I guess, go through sort of like what does that look like in your real estate business? So who manages the marketing? What happens after the calls come in and all the way into the closing side of things?
On my real estate business. So my real estate business is actually simpler than maybe some other people that I might be doing more volume. And I'll say this because I'm not in my real estate business. So I have a couple options, right? I could push as much as I could to try to expand and do as many deals as possible, right? Or what I'm doing is I'm doing just enough deals so it's profitable. I'm doing deals, so obviously I'm testing. Right. But at the same time, what I do is I kind of spread out the income, right? So because in other words, I have money coming in from the real estate business. I have money coming in from the service that we run for experienced investors. I have money coming in from the education business, and now also all those are interlinked, right? So there's not like I'm running 3 or 4 different businesses, right? The skincare is another thing, but all 3 of them kind of combine together. Right. And so I say that because the way I run my real estate business, it's optimized for deals, efficiency, but without too many other moving parts, right? So with our real estate business, the way we do that is just simply we send direct mail. Sellers call in through the phone system, and then one of the things that we do is that we consider everyone a lead. So in regular, most real estate investors, they think a lead is somebody who calls in, leaves a message, and says, "Hey, please call me back. I want to sell my house." For us, a lead is anyone who we're sending out a targeted list to begin with. Anybody who calls in our phone system and enters that phone system, it doesn't matter if they hang up the phone or if they leave a message, we call everybody back.
Okay.
Right? And we find that our best deals are from people that hang up and never leave a message, by the way. So now what happens is that we have our first point of our first what happens first is we have a lead manager. Our lead manager is they live in South America, because we needed somebody Spanish speaking. So that lead manager is the one that listens to the voicemail message, transcribes the voicemail message, pulls all the comps and the relevant information that we need. If a call needs to be placed to the owner to get additional information, they're the ones that call them. And then now once they call that person and everything is vetted, then at that point then now it gets turned over into our main staff person in the house business, right?
Right.
So that main staff person is the one that then will call the seller, will make the offer. Obviously, I'm involved from the standpoint of consulting and making sure that, hey, is that the right offer? Is not that the right offer? And kind of maneuvering around the transaction. But in essence, that person is the one that handles all that.
Right.
And then we have kind of a layer of other things happening, right? So I have a tech person that kind of overlaps between the education business and the real estate business, that handles a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, the tech stuff that we need. And so our business, I think, is optimized to maybe make 50 to 75K a month, on the real estate business. There's guys out there that are doing substantially more, and we could, scale up to do more. But I also like the fact that I have various sources of income coming in at any one given time, and not just focus on one thing, right?
Right.
So if that's so that my setup is a lot better than most.
No, that's great. That's great. And so what what made you decided to get? I mean, obviously the income is one part of it, but what made you decide to get into the education business and basically teaching others to duplicate what you do?
What made me get into I think it was I was bored with the real estate business. I mean, that was one part, and so I saw the internet coming, and I was interested in it, and so then as I learned more about it, then it was just curiosity. And also the thing is that for me, again, every person's different. I tend to be a more technical oriented person, very process driven, very mechanical in nature. So learning how to do all that and learning the mechanics and how that operated, to me, was just really interesting. So I think it was a combination of curiosity and also just, kind of, I already had the business up and running with real estate. So, it was just kind of running on its own. And obviously the final aspect of it was money. Hey, if I could figure this out and I can create additional income streams, that's great. And then what it did at the end, it just gave me more capabilities, right? Because I always think about it in terms of, it's like, I always think about that show MacGyver. Remember that show MacGyver?
Yeah.
Like if a guy had to escape a room full of assassins, and all he had was a roll of toilet paper, he could figure out a way to create a gun with that toilet paper, kill everybody, and use it to climb down the window, right? And I look at it in that way, right? I look at it in the way that, because I have friends that were in a particular market, and technology, the market changes, right? And then all of a sudden now that business and that career path that they were on now no longer is relevant, right? Or they can have a business that we're acquiring customers in a particular way. Now that no longer is relevant. So I look at it more in terms of like me kind of having a tool set that no matter what I'm going to do, it gives me a different perspective on looking at opportunities, right? And so this whole skincare thing, I would have never been able to perhaps consider it. I know a friend of mine had an associate that had created a skincare product, and she had like 5,000 bottles of it in her garage, but she didn't know how to market it, right? And so I think that acquiring the skill sets of being able to market online, the copywriting, understanding how all the technology and everything kind of flows together, I think it helps you from the perspective of being able to pivot and turn as opportunities come and go, as maybe the current opportunity you're in right now may change in the next 6 months, and how can you navigate around that? And I think it also opens up opportunity for other people to seek you and say, you know what, you have this tremendous skill set, maybe can I get you involved in something because I need the help. And so I look at it more of kind of like that MacGyver thing. You're bringing in a skill set that now it becomes like your tool set that you can implement, and then the opportunity comes your way. So I feel like really confident that no matter what happens, whether it be in real estate or it doesn't matter, that I have a skill that's going to enable me to navigate around that and still continue to be successful.
Gotcha. Awesome. So, and that leads us right into like, give us how did you came about with the REI Vote service and providing the direct mail service for experienced investors?
So that comes, there's that came from a pivot, right? So when I say pivot, meaning that a pivot, there's a couple books called, one is Getting to Plan B, and there's a Lean Startup, which talks about iterating your ideas. And so we all have a particular idea in mind. And many times it's only when we start that idea that then we navigate around, and we might be thinking this is the business, but in the end, this becomes a business. So REI Vault initially was just a coaching program, a mentoring program. And we were targeting specifically experienced investors. And so then what happened is that we just saw the need in terms of, these experienced investors, they just want to do deals, and they just want us to handle all the details of that and be able to. And so then that's what the pivot that occurred. And so then now that went from my business partner there is just Gary and I, and we had 2 staff members, to now that business does, millions of dollars, multiple millions of dollars a year. And also we have about 20 in the high 20s in staff, combined overseas and US based. So there's a lot of moving pieces in that particular business. And again, it came from just 3 people working together, right, trying to figure something out, and then slowly iterating, and as with any business. So that's how that came about. It was just an idea that we had, and then we just ran with it, and then we just make adjustments, which I think is something critical that I think most people don't do, is that either A, they try to overanalyze their idea at the beginning, right? And so they get stuck in making sure that they figure out all the details, and many times that initial idea that you had isn't really a great idea, but it's only when you execute it, you move a little bit further down the road, you get some input, that then you figure out, you know what, that didn't work, but I think that thing will work. And you hear those stories all the time from people, right? I mean, the Slack. The story behind Slack. I don't know if you know the story behind Slack.
I don't know.
So Slack was a gaming company, and they had this program that they used to communicate with each other inside the company. But the company was no longer valid, and that chat platform was the only thing that they had to salvage. And from that, now we have this billion-dollar company, right? That came about from that. And so that's what I'm talking about, is just iterating from an idea and being flexible with it.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that the listeners, viewers, watching this video probably look at you and says, man, Cris sounds like he's like a serial entrepreneur, right? It's like multiple businesses, lots of things happening. Do you see yourself as such, or, like you said, it's just pivoting from one?
No, I mean, I think it comes down to, I would say one of the struggles that I've had, and this is, I think, is a struggle that, for some of you, you start off at a corporate job, and you're around that corporate structure, and then you then transition to being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, and you now figure out a way to make money. One of the challenges that I find is that thing that you ran away with initially, the whole structure and everything else, that's the thing you have to come back to, right? Because what ends up happening is that then you get stuck in being that solopreneur, and then you have to then transition into more of the best analogy I found is most of us are the pilot. We're flying the plane. We're cleaning the toilets. We're doing everything. And initially, when you first start any endeavor, you do that. But eventually, you have to transition. And so the transition is that you then become the traffic controller, right? And so now you're the overseer of all these things. And for me, that's been a little bit difficult transition, because you have to be willing to, it's a combination of be willing to give things up, be willing to understand that you have to bring in other people that are perhaps smarter, that have different capabilities and everything else. And so, I think it's an interesting transition. The great analogy I always hear, if you ask an entrepreneur, those chess games, the board chess games, you dress up, and if you ask an entrepreneur, hey, you got this big chessboard, who do you want to be? and many of them will say, I want to be the king, or I want to be the queen, or maybe they might be saying, I want to be the horse, right? And they say this. And so the answer to that is you don't want to be any of them. You want to be the board, right? Because the board, is what controls everything. You're the board. It doesn't matter because you still win, right? Everybody's playing your game. And so that's the transition I think that I've had to make, and I've gotten coaches. I have a coach right now, a personal coach that helps me along with that, and I think that's been my biggest challenge is transitioning to that. Where now, because you can't be a serial entrepreneur if you're also the operator of your businesses.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's a roundabout way of answering you. Don't you notice there's a pattern here? You ask me a very simple question, and I answer it like this, right?
That's awesome. That's beautiful. So here's a big question for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
So here at the Heroes Alliance, right? We see that all entrepreneurs are heroes. We believe that all entrepreneur heroes, because of the commitment that we offer our family, our clients, our staff. Do you see yourself as an entrepreneur? Do you see yourself as a hero?
Do I see myself as a hero? I don't know. The way I look at it is I look at it in the sense that I look at it as I'm given an opportunity, right, to create something that then other people can are able to achieve their dreams and all of their goals, right? Because if you think about it, if you create a business, you think of it in terms of it's my business, and I'm going to make X amount of money, and I'm going to buy all the stuff I want to buy. But if you grow a real business that has employees, that has staff, and it has and has reach, right? Then all of a sudden now you realize that it's not just about you, that you have other people that have dreams and aspirations, the same as you. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but now their dreams and aspirations, they're hinge on you and hinge on your success. And so I think I don't look at it as a hero, but more so as a I'm not thinking about the right word, facilitator, or rather that I'm there with them, and I'm there to, I'm part of their dream, right?
Gotcha.
And so that also at the same time, I think it places a greater sense of responsibility, right? Because now, we sell courses all the time, and it's easy to have someone to discredit someone that buys a course or gets involved in a program and just look at it as a transaction, right? But if you think back, they have the same dreams and the same aspirations as I had many years ago, right? And they're thinking about all the things they want to do for their family, their future, college, and everything else. And now they're taking that and hooking it on the thing you got, right? And I think most people don't really. I take that as a certain level of responsibility. So one of the things that I'm really proud of in the stuff I do is that I don't think, and the last time I checked, very difficult to find a negative review on my stuff and the stuff I teach, because I look at it as I look at it as my responsibility. If you pay me money, and so I look at it more necessarily a hero, but more as a I don't know what the right word, but it's just like a
protector, a provider.
I guess a facilitator of their dream. You know what I mean? They have their dreams, and they're saying, Chico, I have my dream. I have these things I want to do, and I want to follow you, and I want to kind of I want you to help me with this. And so now you're taking on that burden along with them.
Gotcha.
Not burden, but rather you're taking that along with them. And I think that demands a certain level of responsibility, right, on your part.
That's awesome.
So I don't know. That's again.
Yeah, and to me, I call that a hero. So but yes, you call it a facilitator.
A facilitator.
Awesome.
You're like, Chico, you ruined the whole interview. Everything was geared around that question, and now you messed it all up. All of it. It all went down the tubes. Let me put my hat on back. Go ahead.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, so much, Cris, for this awesome interview. All of your answers has been super insightful. So if the viewers want to, check you out, get in contact with you, check out your services and products, where you want to send them?
Well, you know what? Yeah, you can go to crischico.com, or you can just Google my name, Cris Chico. And if you spell it wrong, Google will autocorrect it. I always said, how can I know that I've arrived? And it's because if somebody misspells my name, Google will autocorrect it. No, that's it. That's so. So anyway, you can just Google my name. You'll find my website. You can find out a bunch of stuff on me. It's everywhere. So that's the easiest way. They can just go to CrisChico.com and they can find out more about what I do.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Cris. All right, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Happy investing, and see you next time.
All right.
All right, bye.
And that's our show for today. If you have any questions or would like to get further training from Tim Mai, please visit our website at www.dodeals.com/Tim.